Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Florida Vibes podcast. I am Jordan, and I have a special guest here today on this episode. It is my sister.
Hi, everyone. I am Jordan's sister. So this is my first podcast ever. I guess longtime listener, first time podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always wanted to say that. So I've listened to all of their podcast and, all of that stuff. So it's cool. And I also go to Disney sometimes.
You grew up with Disney.
Yeah, I grew up with Disney.
Me whenever we were younger.
Yeah, I definitely grew up with Disney. Obviously, we grew up together, brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only siblings. So
we went in like the heyday, like in the 90s.
Oh my gosh.
When it was the best, right?
Oh my
So
goodness.
what was like the best experience from childhood being in the 90s at 90s Disney for you?
Wow. Let's start out with a hard one. The best experience? There's so many. Like, I'm just thinking about like how amazing that, well, back in the day it was MGM, now Hollywood Studios, I thought used to be. It's totally different now. Like there's, it's completely different. I remember going in the backlot tour and seeing the Golden Girls house and the house from Ernest Saves Christmas, Vern's house. And it was, I don't know, like we were kids. So, we were little kids and, we're going and doing all this cool stuff. And it just seemed so, I don't know, magical.
Larger than life.
Like, wow, this is amazing. No, I remember going on the backlot tour and I remember part of it used to be where you would see them and they were actually like sewing the costumes. And I remember thinking like, I want to do that when I get older. Like I want to be in there and like sew the costumes. I don't know. They just made things like
interesting.
That. Yeah. I mean, like sewing costumes, they made that look so cool. Yeah. And I don't know. I really missed that. Like that was really awesome. Of course I loved all the countries. I still love all the countries in EPCOT. Definitely my favorite. I could definitely spend a lot of time there. I think it definitely, inspired my love of travel. Now
all the countries, or what's your favorite country?
Oh my goodness, more hard questions. My favorite.
And has it changed? Has it changed since you've been going? Like since you started going?
My favorite country, I would say now. I don't know. I love Japan. Like I love Japan now. Too. I've always loved
Japan.
The Japan gift shop.
Yeah.
It's just super
architecture.
Cool. Yeah, there's so many neat things, and I remember when we were kids and we would get that like rice paper candy.
Yeah.
Which is just so cool.
I think you, me, and Melissa just recently went there a couple months ago or so.
Got a little box
and
of
we
it.
got the rice candy, and it brought me back to childhood.
Yeah, the smell, like the taste of it has like a little sticker in it. It's
exactly
really cool.
the same.
It's exactly the same. But I remember like our dad buying it. And I don't know how we ever figured out, like, how did he figure out that you could eat? Because you open it up. So you open the box and there's like a wrapped candy. So, but you have to unwrap the first wrapper. Right. And then there's another like rice paper wrapper.
Maybe he just did it on purpose.
I don't know how how did he ever know to do that? Like, how did he know that?
I don't know. And it's in Japanese, so you can't really read it.
Yeah.
And Dad's not well versed in different, and this was the 90s too, where you didn't have the internet. So
I don't know. I always
it's just an experience you got to experience,
like
and then you figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, like how.
Well, if you try to take the rice paper off of the second part, it's kind of like it kind of like melts.
True.
So maybe he like, I don't know, tasted it and was like, hey, it's okay to eat, and tested it on you or me, and it's like, all right.
I think maybe he probably saw somebody else get them,
maybe,
or heard about somebody else talking about them, but. It was like the coolest thing. So you open this candy.
So Dad's the one who got us the rice candies first, or did we want those? Did we were like, hey, we want to try
sure
those?
We did.
Probably we just wanted to try.
We would always get them.
Yeah, we just wanted to try it. Yeah. And it's just like, if you go to Germany, you're going to try the popcorn, right? Or the caramel corn.
Yeah.
Right? So it's something like that iconic for us, at least.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things. And it just seems it still seems exotic, to go to Japan and you know, you have all the little sushi plates and, you know, just things that we didn't really grow up with in Central Florida.
No.
You know, I mean, things that were just exotic to us and kind of still are. And, although funny enough, we just had, you know, Korean barbecue for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, you know, like we brought our parents a few times. They've had it, you know, a few times, and I think they like it. I think they like going with us, but, you know, it's just a lot different than what we had, you know, kind of every day.
Well, like
growing up.
cultures are mixed a lot more than they were in the 90s, right? So there's like a lot more people are eating Korean food. They didn't do that in the 90s, right? Like, you know, a normal American family is not going to go out and eat Korean food. Now, Korean barbecue is, I think, one of the most popular destinations. I mean, we went tonight and it's very, you know, it's very like we went after, we went to EPCOT, and this is like, all right, well, and that's another tip that we have is if you're going to go and you're able to go outside of Disney when you're there, go to a place that's surrounding in you know, Kissimmee. Disney Springs is a good place that has a lot of good food.
Oh yeah, Disney Springs is really good for food.
But if you're going inside, like Magic Kingdom, Epcot has decent food, but majority of the food, if you've never been in general, that the food is just nothing to write home about. And if you're able to find something outside that's like, you know, within 5 miles, or if you want to drive a little bit, it's going to be 10 times better probably.
I definitely agree. I think, you know, it's very hit or miss. You know, the kind of the restaurants that you think that would be good at Disney sometimes are not, and they can be a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But you know, we had an amazing meal at the one in Magic Kingdom, the Skipper Canteen.
Mm-hmm.
That was so memorable. And I think because we sat in that one room and it had like all that glass and it was just like a beautiful,
it's themed well.
It was themed so well,
yeah.
You know, and I could have just stayed in that room and they had like a curio cabinet with like different antiques in it. I mean, you felt like you were actually in that, you know, explorer's house, like you were supposed to be. And it was so good because you just kind of lose yourself in that.
You felt like you're part of the Skippers, or there's
exactly.
What is it? The sea, like they used to have it in the 90s, and I think it was something that was like an explorers group. They had some kind of club in, I think, Pleasure Island. It's called the Explorers Group. And they kind of like based it off of Jungle Cruise.
That kind of sounds familiar. I kind of vaguely remember that.
I think a lot of that stuff from Pleasure Island's in the Skipper Canteen, which is going to be, is like, it all plays into like an adventure. It's not Adventure Island, but adventure, like that adventure feel, right? So like it's the theme in Skipper Canteen. You're going to go and get at least a theme, right? But if you go to, let's say, Le Cellier, I'm just going to say Le Cellier. It's not really themed. It's like the cellar, right? But I feel like it's not very Disney, you know, but it kind of is.
Well, I think you kind of want that sometimes too. I mean, but then again, I mean, we go to Disney a lot compared to, you know, people and, you know, people who are, you know, maybe this is like kind of a once in a lifetime vacation.
And that is a once in a lifetime meal. Tell you the truth. That is, I mean, like I've been wanting that meal and I was finally able to do it. My sister was able to gracefully pay for it. And it was very,
I think it was your birthday.
It was for my last birthday. And it was the best, I think the best meal I've ever had at Disney.
Although speaking of birthdays and doing, you know, things that we've always wanted to do for a long time at Epcot, today we got to do the behind the scenes tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
That was really awesome.
For Melissa, it wasn't. She's not a Living with the Land fan, but my sister and I are really more of Living with the Land stans. Because if you think about it, like that's the last ride that's from the 80s, the original ride.
Yeah, it definitely is. I know I was trying to think about another one and I can't think of
that's
another
it.
one.
I mean, Test Track took over what is it? The World of Motion's gone and Test Track took over that. And
yeah, I vaguely remember that whole part. I remember like there was Ellen and the dinosaurs. And
then Guardians of the Galaxy took over that.
Yep. There was,
And this is like, that's the last. And then you had Body Wars, which was in the other pavilion area.
I vaguely remember that.
And there's also like the number one was
of course, like, I mean, Figment's different now.
Figment is different.
You know, Spaceship Earth
There's
is
still
different
Figment,
now.
but it's different.
Yeah, and Spaceship Earth is a little bit different. It's not exactly the same as when they opened the park, but yeah, I mean, the behind the scenes tour, it's just classic. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
It is. And, you know, whenever you go through, if you guys have gone, once you go through the ride, you know, you're in a boat ride. And it's amazing because you go in and you're in, you know, you see these. And I didn't know when I was a kid, like this is the first time I ever saw hydroponics. And I'm like, wow.
Or aquaponics with the fish.
Aquaponics.
I'm like, how are the fish not going to eat the plants? What's going on? And no, they're actually fertilizing the plants.
Well, no, I was blown away when I was a kid. I was like, my goodness, they can actually grow things without soil.
And sand.
Like, this is not what
crazy.
You learn in school. Like you learn that everything grows in soil and you got to plant it and water it and, you know, everything. And I'm like, how are they growing this stuff without soil?
Well,
that kind of blew my little,
that's the whole ride, right?
mind.
Yeah,
I know.
That's the whole ride.
My little kid mind. And I was like,
I tell you the truth, I didn't appreciate it until recently because like our dad would go on it a lot, take us on because he liked slow stuff, right?
Well, I think because it's, you know,
slow rides,
somewhat climate controlled and, you know, air conditioned. And if you're in Disney World in the middle of summer in July, it's 1,000 degrees.
And it's good to take little kids on.
Yeah. And then you get a little break. You get to sit down.
Yeah. And my dad was always looking for a break. Anywhere he can sit down.
Well, bench. Of course. Well, you know.
A bench.
That's what dads do.
Well, I mean, that's Disney is his bench to bench and bathroom to bathroom.
Well, you know,
that's, you know, and I'm starting to do that now. I'm starting to notice where like, okay, where's a bench and where's the closest bathroom?
Yeah, no, I definitely think of,
when you get older, that's what happens. And then you appreciate,
the Norway bathrooms are fantastic. They are like, well,
I mean, we can start ranking bathrooms if you want.
I don't want to let the secret out, but my goodness, those Norway bathrooms.
I think they know. I think people know.
Oh man, they're so good. I didn't know.
You know,
I forgot.
Tell you the truth, majority of people don't go to Morocco. I don't know why, because like when we pass by, there's not a lot of people.
Good.
Not a lot of people go through Morocco, and it's like it's a cool area.
It's hidden.
It's there.
It's hidden. It's kind of hidden.
No, it's there. People don't want to go there, but I think the best bathrooms is in Morocco.
Yeah, they're good. My favorite's Norway.
Norway's good.
But yeah, that behind the scenes tour was really great.
So what was your favorite part about behind the scenes?
I don't know. I mean, just going back and hearing from somebody that actually works there. Because I was trying to think, I don't know if we've ever really done like a behind the scenes or any, you know, behind the scenes tour of any kind.
They don't really have behind the scenes.
They do. They're like hundreds or thousands of dollars.
Well,
you know,
you got to get groups, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've never really done anything like that at Disney World. But see, I'm that kind of person where when I go to a museum or a zoo, you know, if they have like a behind the scenes tour, you know, usually they're, you know, a nominal fee, just like $5, $10, you know, this one was like $30 something. But
it's Disney.
It's Disney. It's something I've always wanted to do. And, you know, cross it off the bucket list. But, you know, I'm always that kind of person that enjoys that behind the scenes tour, you know, just to get to see things that, you know,
others don't see.
Yeah. That everyone else doesn't see. You know, I enjoy that. You know, I've worked at places where I've worked for behind the scenes tours.
You did tours?
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that? What you did?
No. I mean, yeah, if I lived closer, yeah, I would probably be working at Disney World. But
what you've done before, you worked at a big aquarium. We don't have to say the name, but you worked at a big aquarium in the United States, and you would do you were like the main person for the tours, right?
Yeah. Well, our department was. Department was. But yeah, I mean, there was, you know, another manager who would manage the behind the scenes tour, but it was employees in our team members in our department that would run the behind the scenes tour. So how like comparing the quality of Disney compared to what you used to do? It was very good.
Is it better Disney or is it better, or do you feel like it's on par?
No, I think it's on par. I think they're both very good. You know, doing a good job of explaining, educating the public about what they're there, what they're doing.
Yeah.
She was very good today about explaining,
she's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, all the recycling, and they recycle like 99.95% of everything they use. Right. She even like ripped off the top of the Ziploc bag.
Right.
Because the top isn't, recyclable, but the rest of it is. I thought she did a really good job. I just thought it was a good all around tour. I mean, I was really happy with it.
It was awesome. Like it was, every single time I would go through with Melissa and we would be on there and it'd be like, hey babe, we need to go try that behind the scenes sometime. And then it's like, keep talking about it. And my sister's like, hey, I booked us for behind the scenes. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it.
Okay. So here's the thing is that, we've talked about it before, but it's always been like the day of. And I've even looked and we've looked and of course they're totally sold out.
And you got to do it in advance.
I did this, I think a month ago.
Right.
I got the tickets like a month ago.
Yeah, because I was actually looking for like in March, like 9th today, and it's still booked. So you got to look like 2 months in advance.
Yeah,
three, at least probably 3 months in advance, just to book it. And there was only one available, right?
I think there was only one time available, from what I remember.
Yeah, and this was like a month, 2 months in advance. That's crazy.
Yeah. There was I think it was just one time available. And I was surprised because, it's a Saturday and I was like, oh.
Okay. So what about, I'm going to ask you another hard question. What about Disney now that you like that we didn't have? And what do you like what do you think that's changed about Disney now that you would like to have back that we had before?
Okay, so what's changed that I would like to have back? A lot of things.
Like the fast pass? That's what I think.
Oh my gosh, I miss the fast passes. I miss going to get the
free
little
it's just free.
Yeah, and you go and then you scan like your ticket, I think, right? Did you scan your ticket?
Yeah, and they give you a card.
The little paper would pop out.
Yep.
With the time.
And
you could I would actually you'd plan your day around it.
Yeah.
And you would.
Oh yeah.
You didn't need your cell phone or anything. You didn't really have cell phones back then. Not like they are today. Yeah. I mean, you did, but they weren't doing the things that they are doing today. Not as utilized. Yeah. I mean, 30 years ago, cell phones were.
Or even not even 30 years ago, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, we still had, the free fast passes. This is only recent where they do this Genie Plus crap. That's like charging for something that was free before.
Yeah.
And they're not giving you any more entertainment. I feel like they're charging now, this Disney, this generation with this CEO and this whatever, they're charging what they did before, like what they had before, the quality of entertainment they had before with no extra quality, but they're charging more money now, and they still think it's the same type of quality of entertainment like it was.
I think a couple of things. I think it's funny because, when they first opened Magic Kingdom in 1971 or so?
71, 72.
Yeah. Right? And back in the day, you would buy you would have an admission price, and then you'd also buy a booklet of little tickets.
Right.
And you would use those separate tickets to go on each ride. Right. So each ride kind of costs separately, which is kind of funny because it's almost kind of what they're doing now, right? Because if you come in, yeah, it kind of is.
Unless if you want to wait,
Well, here's the thing. I guess what I'm thinking is that where the Genie, is it Genie Plus?
Genie Plus.
Yeah, I think, if, again, those people who, this is kind of a once in a lifetime vacation,
right.
and you have, every minute is precious.
Right. That's what it's for.
I get it.
That's what it's for. But
you don't want to miss, Space Mountain or whatever. You absolutely cannot leave. Because I'll do that when I go somewhere. I'll have these are my must haves. This is what I have to do. I'm not leaving until I do that, until I do these things.
Right.
If you have 2 or 3 or 4 things that you absolutely have to do.
But shouldn't it be free though?
Yeah, of course. Of course it should be free.
Shouldn't it be? Do you think they can warrant charging this extra money, what they're doing? And then it's what did they do extra to charge this extra money for this fast pass? Yeah, they used to give it for free. Now they're charging it. What have they done that's to warrant that? It's
the convenience. You're paying for the convenience.
But you didn't have to before.
You're paying for the convenience. I mean, it's just
and
like
people pay for it too.
It's just like paying for a first class ticket on a flight, you know?
Yeah, people pay for it.
Of course, because some people it's worth it to them.
Yeah.
It's, is there value in it? I mean, do they see the value in it? And some people do. Again, like I think, people with once in a lifetime trip. Sure. You have to do this ride. You have to do that ride. You spent thousands of dollars to come here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
An extra 30
$30 to make sure you do this ride that you absolutely have to do.
Of course.
That's the thing.
But that's nickel and diming, I feel. And Disney was never nickel and dime. Disney was never like, it felt like you went to the circus or carnival. Now it's starting to feel like that.
I don't know. It's, again, I think maybe, when you're comparing when we were kids, maybe we didn't really realize what it was.
Or we just had it too good. When we were younger, we just had it too good. And now we can see the cracks in the wall of what it is. Well,
that's going to Disney as a child versus going to Disney as an adult. And I remember when I was in college, like my first year, my first or second year of college, and I had an English class. And I remember, this is, 20 years ago. I remember taking the class and then writing a paper about going to Disney as a child versus going to Disney as an adult, and how different and how completely different the mentality is. And you kind of do see the cracks. You kind of do see it's just different.
It's all about management, right? So
of course it's about
the managers when we were going, which was Eisner,
the greatest.
Eisner, he's great. I don't know if he's.
Amazing.
I think Walt Disney's the greatest.
Oh, obviously,
right. But Eisner is pretty. He did a lot. He brought MGM in.
Amazing.
He was like fighting against Universal, and he was able to compete with them.
Well, there's competition, and I think competition is very healthy, and I think it only makes the companies better. So.
But Disney's been sitting on the top for so long. Now I feel like they're going to start feeling like Epic Universe. Everybody says this, but I don't think Disney is taking it seriously because Nintendo, Gen Z, millennials, my generation is going to want to see, video game stuff, and they have video game stuff at this place, and people are going to either say, bring their family, who is, my generation, bring their family. Millennials are going to bring their family to Disney, where they're going to not get their money's worth, or they're going to go to Universal at Epic Universe in 2025 and really get their money's worth, like down to the dollar,
Yeah, and I don't know if it's necessarily like a one or the other, right?
But some people are making that decision.
Well, and in that case, Universal's going to win, absolutely.
They're going to win a lot of.
They're going to win a lot of it.
They used to not. Now I think they're going to now.
I think they will, but maybe a lot of people are going to come because of Universal, and then also go to Disney as well. So maybe they're going to get. I don't know.
Or they might do like, instead of doing 5 days at Disney, they're going to do 2 days at Universal or Epic Universe, and then 3 days at Disney.
Right. Exactly.
Or something like that. And that's going to cut into time that people usually would go every year or every 5 years or every 10 years or whatever, or every 3 months or every 2 months or whatever those people are doing. Because there's people coming, right? And it's like, we will never know that, how people have to feel that of spending $10,000 to come to Disney just for 1 week.
Yeah.
We will never know that because we grew up here, and it was about an hour, less than an hour away, always, and it's like, it's crazy now because like Disney's kind of alienating, it seems like they're alienating that populace of those diehard fans who are going to spend that money. And they're going to start going to their competitor. And it's just like, they need to start doing something about it. Cause like all they have in the pipeline is a new ride, which is a skin, like a new reskin of Splash Mountain, which has a New Orleans theme to it. And if you kind of look at it, it still looks like Georgia Rock.
Yeah.
They redid it and it still looks like Georgia Clay. And they're almost to the point where it's going to be done, and they say, you kind of look at it and there's no mountains in Louisiana, and they say it's a salt mine, but if you look at it, it doesn't look like a salt mine. And then the plants are supposed to be like Louisiana style plants, like swampy plants, and they look like they're taken from Moana's water. So like they probably overbought those certain plants at Moana in Epcot, and now they're reusing them. So it's kind of feels like they're the innovation that we grew up with is not there anymore.
Well, I think, when we were kids and then whenever you would walk out of Epcot, you would look down on the floor and there was like the fiber optics.
Yeah.
And it was like, what is this? This is amazing. I've never seen anything like this, and then now when you walk out, the floor is stones there's like glitter in it. It's different. It's just,
I felt, well, maybe because I was younger, I felt inspired when I left Disney. And that's a big reason. I mean, that's why I wanted to get into filmmaking, because of Hollywood Studio or MGM. That's the main, like their backlot tour was one of the main reasons why I wanted to get into it. And like how they told the story of, this is how an action movie's made, and this is how this is made, and here's all the movies that I liked growing up,
or how you make the costumes. Like I said,
how you make the costumes. It's just like
the costumes. They made it
and
amazing.
I didn't want to get into costume making, but I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to get in like that. What ride is going to bring a kid where their imagination's like, I don't know of anything. Like Moana is really good. I think Moana is great, but is it innovative? Where's the last innovative ride? Where is it that's like really pushing the boundaries for you if there isn't, because I don't think there is, for the last 10, 15 years. Do you see it?
No, I think Moana, I think Moana's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that you can, feel the water and, see the water and learn about the water. I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I think to answer your question before, the disappointing part, for me, is Hollywood Studios. It's completely different than when I was a kid. They don't have the backlot tour. I mean, I'm a little bitter about it, but it's okay. They don't have the great movie ride. They don't have all those classic things that just really kind of shot to the heart, and you just, like you said, you just kind of leave like, you leave the place like, man, I want to do that when I grow up, or man, okay, so
I want to work for Disney, or I want to do something.
Foley artist. I never knew what a Foley artist was. And they used to talk about it. They used to have it in like a demonstration, and then they used to do like the different sound effects.
Didn't they do the art? Like I think in Figment, didn't they show the artists, like actual artists, like actual paint and ink artists? Was that in Figment?
That was over near where the like the Little Mermaid show used to be.
In Hollywood Studios?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, what's so crazy?
Yeah,
Something so small of having the Foley. Remember the Foley where you would go in here, like you would like, were able to like put the coconuts together.
That's what I'm saying. The Foley artist.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The Foley artist too.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's something that really wanted me. Like, that is like my imagination's like, holy crap, this is how you do this. This is movie making.
They had like a demonstration, and then they would show it.
Yeah.
And then they would have like a movie. I remember they would play like a movie and then had like the horse sounds, like and then they would show like how they would they would show how they would use the coconuts. I mean, it's like Disney magic, and I think that's kind of old school.
That is learning, right?
Inspiration, and edutainment,
and that's exactly what Epcot was, and
Hollywood Studios,
for filmmakers.
Yeah,
that's what made me want to do what I wanted to do.
I believe it, and then like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids, playground.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It opens your imagination. That's what I'm saying. Do you see anything now that opens your imagination? Any rides?
At Hollywood Studios?
Anywhere on Disney property. Even at the hotel. There's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not kids anymore either.
Well, but still, like, there's nothing that's going to really push the boundaries. Maybe Moana. And like, that's the most creative thing I think they've made.
Yeah, I like Moana. I think it's good.
I think that's the most creative thing that they've made. And that is really something like, okay, you learn about the streams and you learn about the, and here's a big thing of Te-Fiti.
Well, you can hear it and you can use your senses and you can see it.
Yes.
You can touch it and you can feel the water.
That does feel like old school Epcot.
Yeah, it does.
But it doesn't, I don't think it should be at Epcot.
Well, see,
should be at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But anytime that you can use all your senses like that, is definitely, well, my degree is in education, and, I never totally went into teaching, but, I did a lot of student teaching, and anyways, anytime that you can get kids, involved with all the
Right.
senses. I did teach like environmental education, and we used to take a hike where we would talk about all the different senses, and
Right.
that's what you remember. You
Yeah.
remember, it was near the beach, and you remember like tasting the salt
Details,
air.
right? Details.
You remember that.
Yeah. There's no details in the rides now.
Yeah. Yeah. It does seem like a lot of the spark, a lot of the imagination. It's not there. But again, like I wonder how much is because we're adults and we're kind of, we don't have the childlike.
I will say, like, you don't like the Star Wars area, the Galaxy's Edge area, or the Toy Story area, and those are like Toy Story and Star Wars is like my childhood, right? Like Toy Story is one of my favorite movies of all time, and Star Wars is the originals are like some of my favorites of all time. And I thought, when I was younger, hey, whenever I'm going on Star Tours, because that's the only thing that we had was Star Tours. And I'm like, if they were able to build something where it was like only Star Wars and you're in the land and you're able to be immersed, now that I think that is something like, okay, they're able to build those areas, but they're not building rides. I feel like they're building lands that are immersive, very immersive. You're able to put yourself into it and like let your imagination go, but they're not building rides like they used to,
Yeah.
That's one thing that's really lacking. And I will say that the rides that are in Galaxy's Edge are really good. Yeah. I like them as a Star Wars fan. Maybe really not everybody likes them, but I like them. And then the rides in Toy Story Land are really good. So it's like maybe you personally didn't like the changes, right? For Star Wars area.
I thought that, to go back, I thought the backlot tour was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it talked about
But it kind of got dated, though.
Yeah, but...
Because not many people go in the movies anymore.
Well, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, and then the Great Movie Ride, which I guess has got dated, but they're still classic movies. Like, people still appreciate them. Yeah,
but what Gen Z's watching, The Searchers?
Well, we were talking about, like, Epic Universe earlier, right?
Yeah.
And, what is going to be these different lands that are going to be there. And, that one of them is going to be about old school monsters. Well, that's, from the past. I mean, there's still a lot of nostalgia for that. I really think that there is. And kind of seeing like those old movies in the Great Movie Ride, like Gone with the Wind or the
Searchers.
And the Alien and the Wizard of Oz and, all those movies that are still classic movies, still kind of what it was all about. But
it defined Hollywood studios or defined MGM.
I mean, there's always going to be a history, no matter what generation we're in. There's still a history. You still have to understand, I think, the history of where you came from.
If you truly think about it, I believe even Walt said, like, it can't be a museum. So you look at EPCOT, all the things that changed in EPCOT. Now, there's some stuff I think that changed for the better, maybe, and changed for the worse. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's not changing for the greatest now. But things have to change, right? So the Great Movie Ride's not always going to be there. And now it's about movies, but it's not about movie making, right? Here's a Star Wars area.
Right.
Here's
not
a
learning
movie.
Anything.
Here's Toy Story, which is a popular movie. And that's the thing. Like when we were younger, IPs were not really brought into rides. IPs were not brought into, the intellectual properties were not brought into a majority of the stuff. And I feel like that's kind of cheapening things, right? Like if you look at Splash Mountain, they based it off of a movie, right?
Right. Song of the South. Brer Rabbit.
Now they're basing the other one off of a movie.
Right.
And now they're going to be like, and now it's going to be like a whole area is going to be like based off of where like you had the whole
New Orleans, Louisiana.
It's going to be like New Orleans now.
Well, that's kind of mirroring more of, because there's like a whole New Orleans square in Disneyland.
Yeah. So maybe they want to kind of like, but you have Frontierland. You can't get rid of Frontierland. That's one thing Walt wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally.
I mean, I don't know. You never know. But I don't know. I just think that, well, Magic Kingdom is mostly the same from when we were kids. It's mostly the same.
Mostly, yeah.
It really is.
I mean, like Tomorrowland's changed here and there.
Yeah, it's changed here and there. They don't have Alien Encounter.
And then Fantasyland has been, they don't have Alien. Well, Alien Encounter I felt like was one of the best rides.
God, Alien Encounter was ridiculous.
But they redid Fantasyland, which I think they did a better thing with Fantasyland. They made it better.
Yeah, Fantasyland's
it's a lot better.
It still
now.
looks the same.
But I feel like it's a lot better. You know what my favorite ride was? 20,000 Leagues.
Man.
That was my favorite.
I think I was too claustrophobic for that. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It still kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Being underneath the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It was scary.
It was awesome, I thought.
It was a little bit scary.
So you think that, to go back to the question I had, you think that it's just because we're older and we see things differently?
Yeah.
And maybe it is, and maybe you are right. And it's just like the lands that they're creating now, it's different. It's not rides. It's like, here's Star Wars land. Here's Toy Story land. Here's areas that you can go and be in part, invest your, imagination. And, there's people who do meetups at the Star Wars area. And like, that's a whole LARPing and like, that's a whole thing.
Oh,
and it's
I'm sure.
And like, that's like humongous. And like, that's, been needed. I think it's been needed for a long time, but it's just like, overall, what my question is, do you think Disney's headed in the right track where they are now? Or do they need to kind of like move to a different direction, or what do you think? Do you think is it going positive or is it going negative just overall? The entire company?
I think, like we said before,
parks mostly.
I think they need more innovation, more things that, you want people to go in and be like, wow. You want people to say that word,
right?
That wow word,
and it's their money's worth it.
Yeah, the value.
They spend their $10,000 and they're like, "Holy crap, we're doing this again next year."
Exactly, we're saving up and we're coming back. You want people to come in and say wow, and you want them to perceive it as a lot of good value.
Do you think that's going on now? People are doing that now.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I think the parks are crazy busy.
They are.
They're crazy busy every time we go.
Like today was absolutely insane.
Tons of merchandise.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I think it is. It doesn't seem like it was this busy. It's ever really been this busy. Maybe it kind of always has, but it doesn't seem like it has been. It doesn't seem, during the holidays, sure. But I don't know. It just seems like it's been very busy every single time we've come.
Yeah. Well,
so, I don't know.
It's, and then also before you actually started going back to Disney, when was the last time that you went? Like, was 2009?
Yeah, probably about 10 about 10 years ago.
A lot of things have changed.
Maybe like 2014, 2015-ish. Yeah.
A lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
Like it's become a lot more busy.
Yeah.
Which people just want to spend their money there and they just want to go. And like that's I guess supposedly that's holding up the company, like the parks, like is really because like the movies aren't doing it. So the parks are doing it right now.
Yeah.
Walt Disney World, Disneyland and everywhere else. I think Disney World majorly is holding the company afloat,
Yeah, I have the app and, I'll go on and I'll watch old stuff.
Yeah.
Or I'll watch kind of the behind the scenes stuff,
right.
Again, because I like that. I want to learn something. I want to be like, wow, this is really cool. I want to be kind of like a part of it. Maybe secretly I always wanted to work for Disney and never did. Maybe that's
Where would you work for Disney?
I wanted to be a skipper canteen. I wanted to work on the Jungle Cruise.
You wanted to be a sewer. And the behind the scenes.
I absolutely loved the costumes. I thought that was super cool. It was amazing.
You would have been you can still do it. You can still, your dream can still become reality.
Maybe it's
you can be a skipper canteen. Yeah, why not? Or not skipper canteen, but at the Jungle Cruise.
Maybe the ship has sailed.
I don't know. All right. Well, the ship has sailed on this podcast, so there we go. That's another one in the books. So.
Well, this was fun. Was that it seems like it was only 5 minutes. Did we?
It's 40 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Started.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
So have your topics for the next one.
So many things to talk about.
So we'll have my sister on again. And I appreciate her coming. And Melissa will be back on sometime. But whenever my sister's over, or she'll hop on here and give your opinion if you want.
Sure, absolutely.
So I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys, for listening. If you guys could give it a like, share it with your friends, and let everybody know, we would truly appreciate it. And happy trails to you guys, and always keep it vibing.